Hello and welcome to today's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. We're going to look at Friday's puzzle now. Fantastic puzzle today, very witty, quite a lot of difficulty, and if you managed, I think, to get through this puzzle in one piece, you've done extremely well. This would certainly be in the top 2 or 3 hardest of any month, in my opinion. So we've done a couple of quite lengthy videos last 2 or 3 days, what with Mark's listener solved, and I went through the whole puzzle yesterday very slowly. So what I'm going to do today is a different style. I'm going to pick out a few of the clues I really liked, or I think are instructive for some reason, and we'll talk about them, and I'll put a letter or two in, so it's more of a sort of quiz format, and let's see if that's a popular format once it's done. Let's start with 2 down. Okay, this is a slightly unusual type of clue. Now, the normal rule, as people who watch the channel will know, is that all cryptic clues contain a definition at one end or the other. There is one exception, or one main exception to this rule, and that's the sort of cryptic definition clue, which is where the whole clue needs to be read and then thought about in a sort of thought about laterally. You need to come up with a different way of reading the clue, which is completely different from what the surface reading is telling you. So let's look at that with 2 down in mind. So where to stand round at breakfast. So I don't know, it's sort of hinting at some sort of breakfast table type setting, and yeah, that's not how you need to read the clue if you're ever going to solve this. You need to try and think about different meanings for the word round here. And I'm going to give a couple of letters. So let's say, give you that one and that one. So again, I recommend pausing the video. That's the idea of this sort of format. And I'll put the answer in now. Toast rack. Oh. So stand around as in bread. And where might you stand your bread at breakfast? In the toast rack. So very nice clue. Lovely surface. Not easy. Okay, now I want to, which was the next clue I thought we'd have a look at? This clue. This might be my favourite clue of this puzzle. I thought this was extremely cleverly worded. So papa with family forms to fill out. So again, the surface is hinting here at some sort of, father filling in, I don't know, his passport forms for his family or something like that. And believe it or not, this clue actually is an anagram. So you may say, but how can it be an anagram? I can't find sort of 7 letters that are obviously instructed. You're being instructed to shuffle here. Maybe the word forms could be an anagram indicator, but if so, what of? And here you have to realize that the definition is actually to fill out. Forms is the anagram indicator, but we need to use the fact that papa is one of the sort of radio words for P, and if we anagram P and family, I'm sure you can come up with a word that means to fill out. I'll put a couple of letters in. Have a think about it if you need to. And the answer there is, of course, amplify. Very clever. This is perhaps a more accessible clue, but I really liked it. Again, just the surface reading, which this setter seems to sort of specialise in, is so tight. So Russian leader's wife volunteers to hide chemical weapon. Wow. So how do we try and break down this one? Well, the way to get into a clue like this is to look for instruction words in the clue. And they will give you a hint as to which side of the clue is the definition and which side of the clue is the answer. So there's only really one instructional phrase in this, and that's to hide. So if we take it that we need some sort of wife volunteers or volunteers, they need to hide a chemical weapon, then we can conclude that the other side of the clue must be the definition. So we're looking at probably Russian leader's wife here as the definition. Then we're looking for some sort of abbreviation or short synonym for volunteers, and they're going to be around the outside of a short word for a chemical weapon. And here, the way I solved this was volunteers. Very often, if you see that in a Times crossword clue, you're looking at the territorial army. So I was immediately thinking about that sort of construction, and I'm sure most of you now have got it too. So pause if you need to. But if we put sarin in the middle, we get Tsarina, which is the answer. Now, this was very, very difficult. Only really helped. I actually solved this when I hadn't solved amplify. The Y in here makes this just about gettable, I think. So girl recalled attempt to chop wood. Again, very nice surface. Very hard to get a handle on as a solver trying to work out what's going on. So girl recalled attempt to chop wood. When I first read this, I thought I was going to be looking at putting the word try at the end of a three-letter reversal of the name of a girl. So girl recalled, I thought, was saying reverse the word girl, add the synonym for attempt, which would be try, and I thought this would be a six-letter word which meant to chop wood. Now, you'll be there a long time if you try and solve it like that, because that's not right. In fact, what we need to do here, and we're helped a bit by the Y, if we had it, we're looking for the name of a girl. And we're looking for then a reversal of an attempt. So we're looking for this, and that's chopping, i.e. that is inside a reversal of a word for wood. So have a look at that, see if you can get it from the letters we've got there. The answer is myrtle, with elm being reversed on the outside. Again, very, very clever. And should we just take a look at one more? Let's have a look at 15 across, which is another very clever clue. Especially now with the letters we have in the grid, it's much more, I think, approachable. So going on pig's back, following ox with family. Again, a nice surface, conjures up a slightly strange image, but I suppose a plausible one. So how does this work? Well, again, we need to try and spot some instructional words and see if they give us a hint as to where the definition is in this clue. So going on pig's back, following. So when you have a word like following in the middle of the clue, that's clearly part of the word play. So following ox with family. Okay, so we need to sort of break this down into pieces. Pig's back, I think, is a very or relatively clear hint that you're looking at the letter G, i.e. the back letter of the word pig. And then we have the word following, so it looks like we have to put this G after a word for ox. Well, you might be able to think of a three-letter word for an ox that could go in there, with family. So probably the whole thing means going on. We need a G at some point in one of these four letters, probably at the end. And we need a three-letter word for an ox, followed by a short synonym that means family. So have a think about that. I'm sure you've all got it already. The answer is yakking. Going on, as in mithering, you're yakking. Finally, I'll show you what my last one in was today. I had these letters. I had all the checking letters, obviously, my last one in, and it was this clue: potential miss, not entirely upset when it's enregistered. Now, I'm sure those of you who've solved this puzzle will probably be somewhat stumped as to how I could not solve this one quickly, but I stood looking at this for 4 minutes before I finally understood what was going on. So extremely well done to the setter, because in some ways these are supposed to be the very simplest types of times crossword clues. So when you manage to hide a hidden, which is what this is, from a reasonably experienced solver for 4 minutes, you've done very well. So the definition here is potential miss. Not entirely upset is saying you need to take not the entire contents of the words when it's enregistered, but just some of them in reverse order. And if you do that, you can come up with Ernestine. You'll find it hidden there in registered it's when. That's the answer. And yeah, a potential miss. I've seen a potential girl's name. I think that's what the setter's intending there. So fantastic crossword. Lots of misdirection, lots of interesting stuff, witty, very much enjoyed, and we'll see you again tomorrow or later on Cracking the Cryptic.